Well, amid controversy, a total of 1,234 names have been released to lead the Peter Obi and Yusuf Baba Ahmed Presidential Campaign Council for the 2023 general election. The names were released at a brief ceremony here in the nation's capital, Abuja. And the Rise News correspondent Chinaza Samuel tells us more.
14 days after the official commencement of campaigns for the 2023 polls, the Director General of the Obi-Datti Presidential Campaign Council, Doyin Okupe, has unveiled members of the Presidential Council in Abuja. The list comprises 1,234 members, including state coordinators and directors of various directorates, as well as members of the Advisory Council. A review of the list shows that a former two-term presidential spokesman, Doyin Okupe, retained his position as Director General of the Campaign Council, while retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Reservoir, was named as the Council's chairman. Clement Ojukwu and Yunusa Tanko were named the Secretary and Chief Spokesperson of the Council.
The list of our Campaign Council were very carefully selected. The people who made the list came from the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria.
But the list did not sit well with some members of the party. Just hours after the ceremony in Abuja, Labour Party's National Publicity Secretary, Arabami Abayomi, dismissed the list. Abayomi, in a text message to reporters and published by a national daily, said, "We are not involved in Dr. Okupe's mischievous political shenanigans. That is not the party's program. He can't be talking about our party all the time. Which party? Is he the leader of the Labour Party now to announce himself as the DG? It is an anomaly. Who announced DG of Atiku? Atiku did it. When Tinubu announced his DG, his party did it." Continuing, the Labour Party spokesperson said, "Where is Peter Obi? Okupe does not know what he's doing. I want to be quoted. The DG ought to go to the northeast or north central. We are not a sectional political party. Our presidential candidate is pan-Nigerian. How can we have a presidential candidate from the south and a campaign DG coming from the same south?" An indication that all is not well between the party and the Presidential Campaign Council. But in a swift reaction, the party's national chairman, Julius Abure, countered the Labour Party National Publicity Secretary, insisting that the statement did not emanate from the leadership of the party. Abure, in a statement, is quoted as saying, "It is important to let our esteemed friends of the media to know that the leadership of the party fully endorsed the media outing of Peter Obi Campaign Council. The party was fully consulted and fully represented by a good number of the National Working Committee led by the National Secretary." In a follow-up telephone conversation with Arise News, Abure denied that there is a rift in the party's national leadership. He said he would inaugurate the Presidential Council next week. During the unveiling in Abuja, Okupe boasted that the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has at least 15 million voters in the bag ahead of next year's presidential election. Chinaza Samuel, Arise News.
Well, we have Doyin Okupe, the Director General, Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, joining us now on Newsnight. Thanks for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, I'm sure you listened to that report by Chinaza and the issues raised by Arabami Abayomi, the National Publicity Secretary of your party, the Labour Party, raised quite a number of issues. First, that as DG, it's not in your place to announce the Presidential Campaign Council, number one. And he says that you're usurping the leadership of the party and that you're going arbitrary, taking decisions in an arbitrary manner. How would you react to these allegations?
Well, ordinarily, this matter already speaks for itself because the highest officer of the party, the national chairman, has already spoken to it. There's nobody in the party that is higher than the national chairman of the party. You will also recall that at the meeting of today, the man who conveyed the meeting, who opened up the meeting, and who spoke at the very beginning was the National Secretary of the party, Umar Farouk. And he said clearly that he was representing the national chairman. Arabambi was not at the venue, so, you can excuse his ignorance and the falsehood which he said. I never announced any council, and I did not make any pronouncements either about myself or anybody. I just addressed the press conference talking about where the Labour Party was, where we are today, and where we hope to be, just in general terms. And after I finished, I, gave way for the National Organizing Secretary of the party, who, by the Constitution, is the officer that is allowed to talk about and to run, organize, and supervise everything that has to do with campaign of the party.
Okay, what about the other issues he raised?
So, he was the one who made the announcements, not me.
Okay, great.
I never made any announcement of any name. Not me. I didn't.
Now that you've clarified that, there are other allegations he raised, such as being a sectional party or not. And one will wonder, how is the Labour Party different from the establishment parties, such as the PDP, who's also dealing with, a sectional problem of the presidential candidate, the chairman, and, others in the hierarchy of the party being from the same part of the country. You are from the South. Mr. Peter Obi is also from the South. The national chairman is from the South.
You have to look at these things very objectively and politically. There are, this country, in terms of political office holdings, is zoned into 6 zones. So when you say somebody is from the South, the only thing that you alternate at that level is either the president or the vice president. The president, if he comes from the North, then the vice president must come from the South, and vice versa. But other officers, need not be that way exactly. Peter Obi is the primary person. He is the primary person. He's the presidential candidate. His vice president, legitimately and legally and lawfully, has been chosen from the North. Now, I am the Director General of the campaign. The chairman of the campaign council is from Kano, retired AIG Kazari. Right. Do you understand my point? So, this talk, the chairman, this talk about DG being from the North, from the South and all that, it's just a diversion and something that is probably aimed at just creating a confusion within the party's hierarchy.
Yeah, but when you say...
Not the chairman of DG. The chairman of your party is also from the South.
Yes, which is there's nothing wrong with that. The chairman of the party, we came into the party was already existing. Then the party decided, we do not know, we are not part and parcel of their zoning arrangement. The party decided to pick a southern candidate.
Are you saying there's no zoning within the Labour Party? And shouldn't it reflect the mood, the general mood of the country, that everyone wants to have a sense of belonging, whether they're talking about the Labour Party, the PDP, the APC, or any other party for that matter? You will observe
that the Labour Party, in terms of national politics, is very, very new and fresh. They've never been in government before, so it is not surprising that such a structured arrangement may not exist in the Labour Party. Like PDP, APC are parties that have been around, and they've been in government, and these alternations have been well settled. But this is a party that have existed for quite some while and for quite a time, but they have never really been in government.
But in spite of the fact that your party, the Labour Party, is a young party, you say that you have guaranteed 15 million voters already in the bag.
Yeah.
How? Where do you get these numbers from?
I explained it at the
Would
conference.
like you to explain it
There
further.
are 34 million Nigerians on the social media. We have scientific evidence that about 60% of these people have been registered and have voters' cards. Now, we also know, and it is not disputable, that the obedience are tremendously, overwhelmingly the leaders in terms of presence in the social media. We control at least 50% of that figure. So when you look at it and do the calculations, it's not less than 15 million. And Major General Buhari, for a period of about 12 years, bestrode this country and intimidated everybody with his 12 million reserve votes from the north, which he consistently delivered. And what I just said was that today, Peter Obi has a reservoir of no less than 15 million votes. So our requirements to cross the hurdle and win this election is just a little bit more effort.
Okay, so when you say your party is fairly new and would not be surprised with the structure that they have, that you mentioned on ground, what do you say is a mistake that may cost your party at the polls? Again, I'm looking at the list that was released today, and there are no state coordinators for Sokoto and Lagos. Was this an omission?
No. If there are no state coordinators for Sokoto and Lagos, that must have been an omission, because the list that we deliberated upon last night, had state coordinators for Sokoto, and I personally gave the name.
I think that's
okay.
That's
So
I personally gave the name of the state coordinator.
All right, that's a mistake on my part. It's for Rivers State and another Edo State. You don't have state coordinators, but for some states that you do have coordinators, you don't have the indigenes of the states there.
Like which state?
For instance, in Sokoto, you have someone from the southeast. And
you just said that we don't have coordinators from Sokoto.
And I corrected that.
Corrected
that.
Okay.
In Sokoto and Lagos, you do have state coordinators.
Okay, fine.
However, in Rivers and Edo, you do not have state coordinators.
Yes.
Now, in Sokoto, where you have a state coordinator, you do have an Igbo person.
What's wrong with
or
that?
Southeast person.
That,
I know
that
it's just
person,
politics, because you understand politics very well.
That person is a Sokoto-born person. He's born in Sokoto. His parents are from the southeast. All right? He has lived all his life in Sokoto. He's done all his business in Sokoto. In fact, he is totally and completely indistinguishable, but for his name. Right. I've met him personally. Okay. And I think it's about time, we begin to live this type of thing in this country. If you live in a place for up to 5-10 years in certain countries, you have all the full rights.
Is that part of what you're going to be putting in place if the Labour Party, wins the presidential election?
These are the ways we should be going.
Great. I mean,
if you're born in Obama was president of United States of America. His father is a Kenyan. Right. So look, we must get to that level of political development. If I'm born in Lagos, and my parents paid their taxes in Lagos, I lived all my life in Lagos, why should I not be able to run for governor of Lagos?
Okay, so would that be part
senator?
of your 7-point agenda?
No, it's not part of our. It's not part of our 7-point agenda.
Okay, so
it's an idea that if it comes up,
right,
we will support.
That would be a fantastic idea. So let's even narrow down to the 7-point agenda that Peter Obi unveiled a few days ago. What exactly will the Labour Party, Peter Obi, be running on? And it's a long haul for a campaign. Yeah. And it seems to everybody that you guys started way too early. I wonder if you're not afraid of a burnout. But let's talk about, the key points, the 3 main points in this 7-point agenda.
Well, talking about is a long haul.
Right.
Peter Obi has overtly demonstrated that he's a locomotive. This is a man that is not going to get tired. If you knew, and you saw when we were in the PDP, how we went around the 36 states of the Federation. It was with a dizzying speed, and there was nothing. We are prepared to go around the country 3 times, even before this election. There's no other presidential candidate that can go on that kind of thing. So the issue that is the long haul, we are taking advantage of the strength, the health, the physical and mental capability of our candidate. To show and to demonstrate to Nigerians that, mental fitness, physical fitness are all very, very important, in choosing who the president is. Because it's an arduous task, and it requires a lot of strength and energy.
Right, but
Yeah.
he wasn't at the unveiling today. Why exactly? I mean,
No.
a lot of
The
people
press-
are
the-
wondering why he was not there. His running mate, and as well as his running mate.
No. You know, the whole idea was that the Director General of the campaign organization was holding a press conference. And the party decided that they will merge, because, you know, we are a bit behind in terms of the release of our campaign council and all that. So the party decided that we will join the press conference, and after the press conference, we will now seize the opportunity to release the campaign council. Because it's something we could have done without the press conference. We could have just released it to the press and without ceremony.
I mean, the people want to be carried along, and that's why we have all these press conferences, which I'm sure you're used to. But when exactly would you flag off this campaign council?
On the 18th of October.
And what experience?
In Nasarawa.
Why Nasarawa?
Why Nasarawa? Why not?
Okay. What experience would you be bringing to these campaigns?
What experience
Yes.
would I be bringing?
Yes.
Wow. That's wonderful. I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah.
As DG, yes.
As DG
Yeah.
of the,
This is my fourth presidential campaign, the fourth one. You know, I campaigned as a director of communication for Obasanjo. I did the same, you know, I mean, for Bashir Tofa to start with, Bashir Tofa, Obasanjo, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. This is my fourth one. Even if I was a dullard, having campaigned for 4 presidents in this same country, by now I have developed some degree of proficiency. There's no other Director General today among the leading parties that has my knowledge, my experience, my capability, you know, my handling ability, you know, and experience in handling presidential campaigns.
What will the Labour Party, Peter Obi, be selling to Nigerians?
It's quite clear.
Yeah.
You know, number one, his own personal integrity. This is a man that Nigerians have looked through and they have seen that this is a man that we can trust with our money. This is the man that even in his own personal, private life, he has exhibited tremendous integrity and prudence. Besides that, he also, in his record, has shown competence and capability. You know, he has competence and he has capability. And in recent times, in most of his talks, he has also shown that he has grasped, he has knowledge of our problems, of our daunting problems. What you cannot give what you don't have. If you do not even understand the problem, you cannot know how to solve it. Right. This man, from what he says and from what we're hearing, totally understands the Nigerian problems, and you know, he is intellectually and in terms of academic background qualified to solve these issues for Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there. As a matter of fact, opposition says that he's the least qualified, but we'll have to leave it there. Doyin Okupe, DG Peter Obi, Presidential Campaign Council. We'll have to leave it there.
That cannot be true.